Mr. Babin.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, witnesses, for being here as well. Appreciate it. It's critical that we continue to invest in our sciences to promote technological innovations here in America. Our investment in prioritization in this country, science and technology, is a determining factor in our global competitiveness. But we must protect our information. We've even seen the infiltration of Chinese influence in our university systems as recently as a couple of days ago. Just yesterday, I read an article reporting the arrest of the chairman of Harvard University's chemistry department, Dr. Charles Lieber, for lying about receiving millions of dollars from the Chinese, possibly in exchange for cutting research information. Also, a researcher at Boston University was charged as a Chinese agent and lying about it. It is a distinct problem. I've introduced a bill that will enable institutions of higher education to protect federally funded research from cyber theft and interference. It's called the Securing American Research from Cyber Theft Act, and it will provide a pilot project for a nationwide network of secure computing enclaves for federally funded research in universities. And with that being said, Dr. Abdallah, the FBI and intelligence agencies have warned Congress about the threat of foreign espionage of U.S. science and technology, particularly on university campuses. How can we best work with law enforcement to address this threat?
Thank you for that question. Actually, the FBI and other U.S. law enforcement agencies have been proactive in discussing with universities, educating us sometimes on some of the things that were happening that either we were not aware of or entities that we were not concerned about at one time. So in the last couple of years, I'll say there's been a much more collaborative effort, education from the law enforcement agencies, and in fact, some of the news that you're seeing are a byproduct of the universities being much more aware and trying to figure out exactly what these conflict of interest that used to be focused on the financial conflict of interest, what we can do about them. Some of the things that I think are happening from our side is we're educating our researchers a lot more about protecting sensitive information. I do want to say also in some of these areas, it's not necessarily that piece of information, but that piece of information in connection with others. There are a lot of connections between some of these areas and so on. One thing that I think will be very helpful is to reestablish the National Security Higher Education Board. This is, as you know, was a board of universities and the government to try to look at some of these concerns and try to set policies in place.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And I think that's a great idea myself. Dr. Schmidt, I'm very concerned about moves that China is making on 5G wireless technology, particularly in trying to dominate the global market. I understand that the UK just recently chose Huawei for their 5G. What do we need to do to not just compete, but to lead in the 5G race?
There's a set of things we have to do. There's plenty of money, but there's no U.S. competitors at the scale that we need. So we need a good 5G solution at this sort of national level for hardware. And we also need something which the telcos don't have enough of, more good mid-band bandwidth. Today, they're working in a technology area called millimeter wave, which is very high performance, but has some coverage issues. It's not as good as the mid-band, which everyone else is using. I have separately, and as part of my military work, argued that the DoD should share some of its key frequencies with the telcos in order to enable this. I believe that the United States needs a competitive 5G plan. Today, the reason these countries are purchasing Huawei is, one, it's cheaper than the competitors, and two, they're getting very cheap money out of China to do so. That then enables China to populate their networks with all of the Chinese principles. How is that okay with us?
It's not okay. Okay, thank you very much. And also, China's investment in development and not on basic research implies that they're building their technological success on the basic research developed in the United States and around the world. What is the right balance for protecting U.S. basic research while continuing to promote an open science system that has made our scientific enterprise the best in the world, Dr. Schmidt?
First place, the stuff that you're describing where those are illegal activities, they need to be aggressively policed. Those are violations of our law and they're not okay. You can imagine a number of ways of strengthening those, more disclosures, things like that, things that you've talked about in your security bill. To me, the way we win is we run faster. We invent ahead. We benefit from the American model, and we just run faster. I think collectively, yourselves and we believe that we can do that. We can win this, but it's a run faster strategy.
Thank you. And my time's expired, Dr. Sylvain. I had one for you, but I'll have to pass that until later. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Foster.
Yep. Hi, Dr. Shen, over here. Bill Foster, the physicist and chip designer. I was fascinated by your comments on the sort of what could be called the